What happens when the fate of the world depends on a broken assassin who has to confront the horrors of her past? In Heir of Fire, Sarah J Maas delivers a tale of vengeance that transforms into a journey of self-discovery and magic. Welcome back to the Fantasy Shelf. In this video, I'll be doing a book review of Heir of Fire. If you have not read the previous novels, I suggest you come back after reading the first two installments in the Throne of Glass series. There is so much to unpack, so let's begin with a quick summary. By the end of the last book, we discovered that the king was in possession of at least one of the word keys, and Selena needs to find the other two and a way to get rid of them. All of a sudden, Selena is forced to drop that plan and is sent to Wendlin, a distant continent and a Fae stronghold. In Heir of Fire, Keol picks up the mystery and makes good progress on it, but finds himself in the middle of the rebel movement in Underland, while Prince Dorian meets a healer named Sorsha who is willing to help him learn to control his magic. In the Firian Gap, where the king has been conducting sinister experiments, the bloodthirsty Iron-Teeth witches are training with the Wyverns to fight in the king's aerial army. At Wenlin, plagued by the horrors of her past and broken by the losses, Selena trains with the harsh, unyielding Fae Prince Rowan Whitethorn to master her powers. She hopes to find answers from the immortal Queen Maeve, her aunt, about the word keys that could put an end to the King of Adderland's tyranny. As more secrets are revealed and an evil darkness is unleashed upon Wenlin, will Selena embrace her true heritage and finally be the beacon of hope for her people? This is the main storyline in Heir of Fire. I was not sure what to expect from this book. Introduction to the new continent brings an abundance of new characters, backstories, culture, and more lore. Though this makes for a story-driven plot, it slowed the pacing down quite a bit and becomes dull for a couple of chapters. But even with the slow momentum, the narration is not overly descriptive and the language is easy to follow. There are many narratives to give the reader an in-depth idea of the larger picture. Thankfully, the narrative does not shift in the middle of any cliffhangers. Each subplot is neatly tied before moving to the next person. This is a good way to address the passage of time while getting simultaneous insights on the character storyline, because all these different adventures are slowly heading towards a common endgame. There is no love triangle in this one, which is perfect. What do we get instead? Chemistry. The relationship here does not have any hint of romance yet, but develops an intensity as the story progresses. The final battle scene did not disappoint. I could not point out a single thing in the plot that was out of place. Almost all plot twists are unpredictable, though not shocking or nerve-wracking. Overall, this story is about healing, growth, and transformation. This book got me emotional multiple times. I love a story of resilience and sacrifice. This fantasy world has expanded to epic proportions and is much more complex, with the story shifting between Wendlin and Underland. We have demons, wyverns, detailed witch culture, and fae legends. This book explores the inner workings of the magic system, how the power feels in a person's body, and also explains its limitations by showing us how dangerous a magic burnout is. More gods have been introduced to the lore, like the sun goddess Mala, who is present as a nurturing divine force, and the three-faced goddess of the witches. The Fae kingdom at Doranel is as magical as I imagined, but we spent very little time there. Though it is not as described in minute details, some parts reminded me a little of Rivendell. Selena stays at Mistward, an outpost at the border of the Fae Kingdom, to hone her magical abilities. Mistward is inhabited by demi-fae who are not allowed into Doranel unless they prove themselves. So Selena actually gets the chance to slowly form bonds with people of her own kind, learning a lot about her culture and history. The Firian Gap has been discussed much in the last two novels, and we finally get to explore it. This area is hidden between rocky mountain ranges with steep cliffs perfect for the king to carry out his evil experiments. The Iron Teeth witches from the fallen witch kingdom have gathered here to train as the king's aerial army. The coven politics was a little overwhelming and dragged quite a bit. I'm sure this is setting the tone for future books. In the previous books, we see bits and pieces of the rebellion playing out in the background. Even though Archer Finn is dead, the few rebels are still fighting for their cause in secret. But their plans are not well developed. All they are doing right now is spying on the glass castle and gathering intel. They get some direction when Keol and Aedion are added to the mix. We have twice the number of new characters than the previous books. The author has taken time to flesh out characters, helping readers explore their personalities and understand them better. The new characters are powerful, refreshing, with excellent arcs. Notes on the new characters are in the spoiler section. Dorian's story becomes stagnant at some point, while Keol goes back and forth on choosing sides, but trying not to choose a side, which was annoying. He shares Selena's identity with Aedion, even though he's unsure of his alliance. Also, Keol prefers leaving Dorian in the dark about important details in a bid to protect Dorian. But as Dorian rightly calls him out on this, the truth is Keol refuses to accept Dorian and Selena for who they really are. It was Aedion's presence that made Keol's chapters infinitely better. Maas has captured the hopelessness and the self-loathing of the main lead so well. I was rooting for her so much harder than the last two books. Rowan finds her when she is at her absolute worst, wasting away as an alcoholic on the roofs of Wenlin, and he proceeds to further kick her when she's down. That was hard to read, and I just wanted someone, anyone, to help her back up. We get to understand Selena's trauma in depth, and her healing is wonderful to watch. There was no poor judgment from Selena at any point. It is like she has learned all there is to learn, and now she's embracing her true self completely. One of the biggest strengths of this novel is that, instead of telling us about how awesome Aelin is, the author showed her struggling, then developing control, and finally mastering her gifts. A true transformation. There are spoilers in this section. Please click on the timestamps in the description to move on to the conclusion and rating. Rowan Whitethorn is one of the best characters in the series so far. Finally, Selena is on equal footing. I loved how their relationship progressed from a place of disgust into a blood bond. The chemistry he has with Selena is obvious right from the beginning. But the sudden assaults did shock me a little. He is a brooding Fey warrior who is not immediately swooning over her beauty and doesn't let her take it easy even after learning about her horrible past. Being an immortal, he has his own inner demons to deal with too. Rowan is a beast in battle with the power to wield the wind, and his animal form is that of a white-tailed hawk. The platonic bond he shares with Selena is soul deep and far intense than any fairy tale romance. Theirs is a journey of mutual healing and self-forgiveness. I loved every bit of their interactions. Manon Blackbeak. I initially found Manon very irritating with her pride and such low regard for others. Witches have their hierarchy, but being terrible to those in the lesser ranks to achieve absolute obedience is a sign of a tyrant. I was confused why she was relevant to the overall story till Abraxos the Wyvern came into the picture. I kept seeing him as Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. His is a story of the abused underdog rising up the ranks through sheer courage and resilience. Manon sees the real warrior in him, and his bond with Manon is so heartwarming. By the end, Manon becomes someone with the potential for a great character arc, though we still have some way to go for that. Aedion Ashrava, the Wolf of the North, is as cool as Rowan, though maybe not as layered. I was unsure of his motivations as he was fighting for the king, but he disliked Dorian, and that made me think he is still loyal to Aelin. His point of view sections connects us to Selena's past, which was insightful. He is honorable, arrogant, ferociously loyal to Aelin, willing to watch everything burn just to see her alive again. Moreover, he was clever enough to fool the king for years wearing a fake obsidian ring. Aedion throws the wildest parties to gather intel on the king's activities so he can protect his people however he can. But he too is living in the same dark despair as Selena at the terrible things he did to survive under the king's rule. The book is pretty long and it took me 26 plus hours to complete. Out of the 3 novels in the series, this is the most character-driven book so far. Though it excels in emotional impact, I missed the fast action, the energy, and the creepy thrills of Crown of Midnight. I am giving this book a score of 8.5 out of 10 with high points for story and character development. There is good amount of violence, blood, and death in this book. The story, which has matured and grown with the main character, has now entered epic fantasy territory. I hope you have enjoyed my review. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more high fantasy book content. Happy reading to all!